There are 7 types of makeup sponges and applicators, and the material of each one decides whether it applies, absorbs, or wastes your product. One of them is sold every 3 seconds somewhere in the world. Another was one of the biggest viral flops in beauty history. And that tiny applicator that comes free in the palette, the one everyone throws away, is secretly the best at one thing no expensive brush can do. By the end, you'll know exactly which ones actually deserve a spot in your kit. The egg sponge. A pink teardrop of foam with no straight edge, and it exists because of high-definition television. Rhea Ann Silva, a Hollywood makeup artist, was working on one of the first TV series filmed in HD in the early 2000s, when the new cameras started exposing every sponge mark and brushstroke on the actresses' faces. Her solution: carve sponges down until no edge remained, because edges create lines. In 2003, she turned the workaround into a product, and today, a Beautyblender is sold roughly every 3 seconds on the planet. The rule almost everyone ignores: it was never made to be used dry. The foam is hydrophilic. Wet, it doubles in size and becomes saturated with water, so the pores are already occupied and won't suck up your foundation. Dry, it becomes an expensive drain for your product. Bounced against the skin, it deposits thin layers in tiny dots like a stamp without dragging anything. It's the right sponge for a real skin finish. It's the wrong one if you're too lazy to wet it. Using a Beautyblender dry is paying premium to feed a sponge. Wedge Sponge. Ben Nye the Latex Wedge, a dense white triangle sold in packs of 10, the dinosaur that refuses to die. It dominated theater and TV dressing rooms for decades before any pink sponge existed, because it was cheap enough to use and toss between one actor and the next. Density is the point. Latex has almost no open pore, so the wedge drags and presses product into the skin with heavy coverage, and the straight edges slide into the crease of the nose and under the eye like a ruler. The problem it hides: latex absorbs foundation the way a kitchen sponge absorbs dish soap. It's estimated that up to half the product dies inside it. And there's the medical detail. Latex allergy is one of the most common contact allergies in the world, and a lot of people discover it through makeup. It's the right one for heavy-duty work, stage coverage, and edge precision. It's the wrong one if you want to save foundation. It charges a toll on every application. The silicone sponge. A transparent little pad that looks like a bra insert, and that's exactly where the idea came from. In 2016, the Silisponge went viral with a mathematically perfect promise. Silicone has 0 pores, therefore 0 absorption, therefore 0 product waste. It sold out in days. Months later, it became a junk drawer resident worldwide. The physics nobody mentioned in the viral video: the same surface that doesn't absorb also doesn't grip. It doesn't blend, doesn't fuse, doesn't finish. It pushes foundation from one side to the other like a squeegee on glass, leaving streaks you need to fix with another tool. The applicator that promised to replace them all ended up needing them all. It was left with one honest talent: spreading the first layer without losing a drop before another sponge finishes the job. It's the right one if you count every milliliter of an expensive foundation. It's the wrong one as a standalone tool. Buying the Silisponge was buying half a sponge. The Velour puff. A soft little disc with a satin ribbon, the oldest applicator on this list and the only one ever made from swan feathers. In the 1920s, when pressed powder became a craze and women started doing their makeup in public for the first time in modern history, the feather puff was a symbol of luxury inside the compact. The current version, made of synthetic velour, does what no brush can: pressure. A brush sweeps powder over the skin. The puff presses powder into the foundation, locking everything down. That's why the baking technique, born backstage in drag and then adopted by the world, only works with a puff. The short, dense fibers carry a lot of product and deposit it all at once without kicking up dust. The surprising detail: professional makeup artists also use the puff as a shield, held between the fingers, resting the hand on the face without smudging anything. It's the right one for setting and mattifying the T-zone. It's the wrong one if you want light coverage. The puff doesn't know how to do less. The foam tip applicator. That little stick with a foam tip that comes free in every palette. And here's the answer to the promise from the beginning. The applicator everyone throws away is the best in the world at one thing: maximum pigment. The dense foam has no bristles for powder to hide between, so it picks up the entire shadow and stamps the entire shadow, especially glitters and metallics, which no brush holds properly. Professional makeup artists use the same foam with a wet formula. A spritz of setting spray and a metallic shadow becomes aluminum foil on the eyelid, with intensity that doubles what any brush can deliver. What it doesn't do, and never will, is blend. Foam has no loose fibers to diffuse an edge. It deposits, something else spreads. It's the right one for impact, shimmer, and wet layer application. It's the wrong one for gradients, and it was always misjudged for being tested at the wrong job. The Doe Foot. the angled foam tip inside every gloss, liquid lipstick, and concealer. The name comes from the shape, a fawn's hoof. It's the only applicator on this list that lives inside the product and that turns it into a dispenser. The diagonal cut does two things at once. The wide face deposits a measured layer on the center of the lip or under the eye, and the narrow tip draws the outline without needing a liner. The invisible engineering. The flocked foam holds an exact dose per dip. It's portion control disguised as an applicator. The detail almost nobody notices. In concealers, the angle was designed for the crease under the eye, fitting the curve of the orbit the same way the angled brush fits the cheekbone. It's the right one for dosing and drawing in a single motion. It's the wrong one for blending anything. The Doe Foot delivers. The finger or the sponge does the fusing. The Konjac Sponge. The outsider on this list, it doesn't apply makeup, it removes it. Made from the fiber of the konjac root, an Asian plant, it has been used in Japan for over a century, originally created to wash baby's skin. That's how soft it is. Dry, it feels like a rough stone. Soaked for 2 minutes, it swells into a firm jelly. The plant fiber physically exfoliates while the naturally alkaline structure helps cleanse, gentle enough for daily use, something no cleansing brush can promise. The important detail, it's biodegradable and has an expiration date. It lasts an average of 4 to 6 weeks before it starts to decompose, because it's literally a root. A cleansing sponge that never expires is a plastic sponge. It's the right one for exfoliating sensitive skin every day. It's the wrong one if you want it to last forever, and that's exactly the point of it. So which ones do you actually need? Here's the math. Liquid foundation calls for the wet egg sponge, or the wedge, if coverage matters more than saving product. Powder and setting call for the puff, never the sponge. Metallic eyeshadow calls for the foam tip you almost threw away. The Doe Foot already comes inside the product. Learn to use the diagonal. And the konjac works before all of it, on the clean skin where makeup is going to live. Most people use the wrong sponge dry, throw away the right applicator, and blame the foundation. The material is the instruction manual. Now you finally know how to read it. Someone you know is using their sponge dry right now and wasting half their foundation on it. Send them this video.